just what who you think you're cold calling and how to actually do it. Not only that, but I plan to use your ideas and then generate a script based on what you're asking for. So we could put this together. Daniel, who's always working really, really hard with me, we're going to take your scenarios, we're going to clean it with AI, and then we're going to produce a PDF that everyone could download later today. So now, wasn't that worth the cost of admission, right? Okay, I hope. Lisa, just got a couple other people coming in. Let me just see. I see a lot of people are hiding today, which means that they probably don't want to be picked on. But for those of you who have the courage to be picked on, particularly new people here, I am asking, do you cold call? Since this is about being bold and making the cold calls, I suggest you actually try and participate. I could promise if anyone is offensive or mean, I will throw them out of this meeting. Nobody is mean here. This is a safe zone. So it's going to be fun. Who's done some cold calling? Okay, Greg, always good to see you. And Mary, maybe we'll pick on Mary if she's willing to be picked on. Greg, tell everyone who you are and where you are, and we'll get going from there.
I am Greg Coggins, and I am in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay, great. So how much of your business is cold calling?
Zero.
Zero. So have you done any cold calling? Is that?
I have.
Okay.
With very limited success. I've done with dialers before. I'm just not a cold call kind of guy, but I have tried it. You asked if has anybody done it? I have done it. I don't do it anymore.
Okay. You're here though, so would you, if we could take the pain out of it for you?
If you could take the pain out of it, I listened to something yesterday, and the guy was talking about his goal is the
Okay.
no. All
Is
he
to know,
focuses
yes.
on is getting the no. He's not worried about the yes. When it comes along, great. But he's trying to get 20 no's a day.
Good.
I
And
thought that was an interesting way to approach it.
It's a very old psychological hack that you need to hit your nose. There's going to be a certain amount of rejection that all of us are going to get. Listen, we're in a business where we get rejected. I hear from some people, I don't cold call, says I don't want to bother anyone. We're professional botherers. Get used to it. There's going to be people who are going to judge you and not like you that much. Sales is not a symptom of the disease. It's something that actually needs to be done. And we're not talking about some schmuck that's going to take you from some horrible phone company to an even worse phone company. That's not the type of cold call that I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is actually, goes along with someone who's perfected and worked really hard at their craft and works hard to be good, that you're actually trying to bring some type of level of success. Greg, here's something that you brought a nice young lady in with you about a month ago here. I guess she's on your team or you've had some things. Here's a thought. This is what you should write down, guys, because this is about to change the way you think of cold calling. And don't tell any of your competitors about it, because what I'm about to tell you is going to make you money. I know that's a very bold statement, but here you go. You ready for it? Drum roll, anyone? Okay. Cold call as a team. In other words, Greg, sit down with this lady that you're working with, or any of you who might be working with someone, and you could try something like this. Daniel Cruz, Edmund Bogen, and Eitan Benzeno from the Edmund Bogen team at Douglas Elliman. How are you? And then Eitan will say, hey there. You will completely screw them up. As far as they don't know what to do at that point, because no one, if just show of hands, have any of you gotten a cold phone call from two people at the same time? The answer is you probably haven't. Now, I just gave a very salesy type of pitch. Edmund Bogen, Douglas Elliman Real Estate, the Edmund Bogen team. We don't even have to go that far. You could take it a step further from there. Edmund Bogen and Eitan Benzeno calling you at the suggestion of Ingrid Carlos. Does that name ring a bell? Well, no. It's like, well, I didn't know that if it would, but Eitan and I wanted to talk with you, and then Eitan could chime in and talk about what we want to talk about. It will give you the crucial few seconds that you need to be able to have a conversation with someone. Just think about it for a second. You never, ever, ever saw a cold call coming from two people. Again, if you like the idea, shut up about it. Don't tell the whole world about it. It's a good one. We're just sharing it here amongst our 26 friends. Okay. This is something that I've done successfully with Tinka. She's not here. We landed a great listing in East Boca. I've done it whenever we actually do this. Of course, I've been doing a lot of prospecting and other means of getting business, but that's the first thing that I wanted to get out. And I wanted to get out early in this meeting so that all of you could feel that you walked away with at least something in case you have to jump. Cold call with a second person. There's 3 things that actually happen. 1, your comfort level goes way up. Why? Because now in a way it's 2 against 1. I don't want to make it an us against them or something that's actually tough, but it really is safety in numbers. And that is the human herd mentality, that you feel a lot safer when you're doing it with a friend. So that's 1. 2, it's gonna, the person getting the call, just like none of you have gotten a call from 2 people at the same time, neither have they. 3, when I said I got suggested by Ingrid Carlos to give you a call, does it ring a bell? Well, Ingrid is my manager at my office, and she says we should cold call. Now, I didn't know if the name was going to ring a bell or not. Now, some of you might be saying that's manipulative. It's not good. Great, don't do it. I'm just telling you what works. I'm not telling you to necessarily do what I'm saying here. I'm saying if you follow those instructions, you are going to make some headways. So that's one thing. So cold calling with a friend. What I'd like to do here is actually build a script on this. Daniel, if you could make note of the time that people are mentioning this so that we could go back after the meeting and then write out the script.
I always like to know how many people.
And write out the script that it gets requested. By the way, I say this to everyone, if there's noise in the background, I'm going to mute you, but that does not mean that I don't love you. I do love you. I want to have you in the meeting, but just please try and kill the background noise if it's at all possible. So give me a scenario. Greg, I'm going to pick on you in a second. And Mary, I didn't forget about you. I'm coming back in just 1 second, so don't worry, it won't hurt. Greg, what was the circumstance that you made the cold call in? Was there anything like, when you tried and it didn't succeed, what was the situation that you were in? What was the pitch you were trying to give?
Well, I did what I guess everybody does, the expireds, the FISBOs, they used to do the 1-year-old canceled listings. I don't know, I guess I just sounded too robotic or whatever, but I just never had any success at it. Getting the conversation going. You just gave me a great idea that I'm going to try.
What, 2 people?
Yeah, the 2 people.
Yeah. It works. It works every time. It's just don't tell anyone else in your office. That's all I can tell you. Leah and Alex are here. That was a gift. But on a serious note, here's the thing. Ideas are in the air, guys. Why do I give away all my ideas? Because the same reason why Mark Zuckerberg deserved Facebook over the Winklevoss brothers. Everyone know about the social network where there was a big lawsuit about who actually invented Facebook. The Winklevoss twins were the guys who supposedly came up with the idea. They never would have executed. Ideas are everywhere. It takes execution. And what do I mean by that? It's determinism. If the Wright brothers didn't invent the airplane, would you guys still fly to Florida every winter? Of course you would. Somebody would have come up with it. Why? Technological determinism. Ideas are in the air. The big difference is they were the ones at that moment to execute on that idea. And that's what I'm saying here. I could tell anybody any one of my ideas. And if they're not going to execute, it doesn't mean squat. So just keep that in mind. So, okay. So Greg had a cold calling for expireds and FISBOs. Let me just pick on Mary. Mary, can I pick on you? You seem so sweet. I don't want to, Mary?
You can pick on me. That's fine.
Oh, okay. Where are you? Can you tell us who you are and where you are?
I'm Mary Heedbakey. I'm in Oklahoma City.
Oh, very cool. I don't know if you've had anyone from Oklahoma City. That's great. We love having you. So when you were raising your hand, you were either scratching your forehead or raising your hands. I don't know which, but do you cold call? Is that any of your business plan?
I do. I'm not consistent at it. I do get some cold leads that come in, and I do try to cold call them. I've had 3 that I've actually closed on that I've cold called this year. So I want to get this year.
Okay, that's and how many closings did you, without telling me how much you made, it's none of my business. How many closings did you have this year?
I'm a fairly new agent, so I've only closed 5 this year. 3 of them have been from cold calls.
60%. 60%, guys. Are you hearing that? 60% for good for you. Good for you. But
cold
go ahead.
calls frighten me, but
Mhm.
I am planning on starting on a dialer to invest in that so that if I'm paying for it, I'm going to have to do it. So I'm here today to kind of learn how to do that and not be afraid to pick up that phone because it feels like it weighs 600 pounds.
Cortez said, burn the ships so that the soldiers have no opportunity but to fight. Everyone know that little historical, I don't know whether it's legend or truth, but I remember the story. Burn the ships. You're not going to be able to sail away. You're going to have to fight the war. And that's what you're doing right now. You're burning the ships. Try it with a friend. You have a kind face, and I think that you have a good voice as well. There's no reason in the world why you can't make some headway. Of the calls, for the 3 deals that you actually got, how many calls were made? And, any knowledge of that?
Yeah, because they were through I was doing sync leads. And I've had, I think, about 150 of those leads. I didn't necessarily call all of them. Some of them I was emailing and texting, but the 3 that I closed on, I actually called. So I've probably called about 110 people to get those 3.
So, well, you got a 3% close rate on, and that's not to mention. And now, were those buyers, sellers? I guess they were sellers.
They were buyers.
They were buyers. Okay,
they were buyers.
It's an interesting approach. Okay, look, there's little golden breadcrumbs everywhere, guys. Just remember that. And I think Mary is a very good example of this. Do you have seller leads as well, Mary?
I do have some seller leads. I've not been able to connect with them enough or to get any of them listed.
Okay. So give us the pitch. Can we role play here? This is a big scary thing now. You got all these faces looking at you. And look at Mark Lawrence is here, and he looks all stern in his rock and roll t-shirt there, and he looks all tough and stuff, but he's not going to bother us in a second. You want to do a quick role play with me?
Sure.
Maybe? Okay. So who do you want to play? You want to play the realtor, or you want to play the seller? Because we're going to go for seller leads here. All right. Okay, you're scratching, you're punching up. Take up. Hold on. First things first. This is psychological. Sit up straight. Take up some space. Breathe. It's just we have to remind ourselves of this stuff. No one is going to hurt you here. Like I said, if Mark says anything, I will throw his ass out of here. I say this because Mark's one of my good dear friends for years now, so I like screwing with him. But here, can I try it first? I'll give you the pitch.
Sure.
Okay. Great. Ring. Ring.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello?
is this Mary? I forgot how to pronounce your last name. Before we do this, I want to do it properly. Heedvegi. Okay, so ring.
Hello.
Hey, Mary Heedvegi.
Yes.
Yes, Mary. Hi, Edmund Bogen. I'm calling at the suggestion of Ingrid Carlos. I'm with Douglas Elliman Real Estate. I hope the name rings a bell.
I've heard of it.
You heard? Okay, good. Then I'll be brief. I know that you had your home listed about 6 months ago. I see that it came off. I have a lot of buyers, and we have an inventory drought at this point. Is there any way that you would consider taking an off-market offer on that property?
If it's the right offer.
Okay, terrific. So let me ask you this. There are a lot of people. How long have you been in the home?
I've lived in this home for about 20 years.
20 years, terrific. And do you have a place to move? Because I've got a certain time frame with what these folks are trying to do. So we could probably be flexible, but I want to know what we could set them up for and exactly what your expectation is.
Well, I can always go live at my office if I need to, if my house sells fast enough. This is actually a true life situation. So
it was okay. Well, listen.
It was.
So before we get any further, I would love to be able to come over with my colleague, Dina, and tell you all about what we do and take a look at the home and go from there. It is something that, without wasting your time with the buyer or the buyer's time, I just want to be able to take a quick look. It should only take about 15 minutes. Can I pop in, say tomorrow at 3 o'clock?
Sure.
Great. Okay. She was agreeable. Thank you for that. We got that, blah, 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 blah. The point is, when you role play, guys, be agreeable, because you're going to get the jerks on the other end. We know that. Here's the other thing. ChatGPT. Everyone using it now? Or a lot of you are? Some of you? Come see. I know Greg. I know Greg's using it. Greg's a ChatGPT monster here. This is good. With these AIs now, you could actually have a role play conversation. I don't know if anybody thought about that, where you could actually speak to an AI and go back and forth with playing the role. I'm going to do that in a minute here, if I could actually get this thing going. I'm just trying to see. No. Okay. I'm gonna try and do this by the end of it. But the point is that there's a voice feature on ChatGPT, and you could set the standard within it to play, easy, medium, or very hard. You could make it somebody that absolutely hates real estate agents. Don't do that as your first thing. Do that as maybe your third or fourth thing. You'll be able to then, in the safety of your own home, have an argument with the computer. Sounds kind of crazy, but you could have that role play where psychologically, that no one is there. They're not going to harm you. So if you try and take that approach, then you could try it with friends. And again, trying to cold call with some people, with another person, makes a lot of sense. It works. It's something that, especially if you get a nasty person on the other end, because here's the other thing. Also, Mary, this is the last time I'm going to pick on you here. Let me ask you this. What happens when you get a cold call? You must, not a robocall, but an actual human being trying to convince you to do something, to convince you to part with your money, to convince you to buy something. What do you do? Be honest.
Most of the cold calls I get are for health insurance, and
Mhm.
I am a veteran and get all of my health insurance through the VA. So I shut them down pretty quickly,
Okay.
honestly, if I'm being honest about this.
You shut them down pretty quick. You ever hang up?
I've not really hung up on them without telling them I'm not interested, but yeah, I do hang up pretty
I
quick.
picked the nicest person in North America to give this example with. Okay, you are the nicest person in North America. People hang up on me all day long. And it's fine, because I still win. And I don't think what we're doing is a symptom of the disease. Most of you need to unscrew your own minds within that. Let me just say this, and the reason why I asked Mary this question. If you hang up on people that cold call you, you are never going to want to make a cold call. So this is my suggestion, better than anything you could possibly do. Take every single call that you can. Now, granted, you might be at a doctor's office, there might be some type of thing, but take every single call that you can, engage them in conversation, try and politely get out of the situation where somebody wants to sell you health insurance. Oh, I have health insurance, but that's very kind of you to call. Well, but we can get you a better deal. Try and see how many times they come back to you. Again, two things are going to happen here. One, you're going to psychologically give yourself permission to make those calls. If you actually speak to that person and you're willing to take the call, why wouldn't somebody else? It's just the law of reciprocity. This is something that goes into each and every one of our minds. And two, you're going to learn something. You're going to learn something. You're going to see if somebody was truly trained. That's the thing. People fail at this because they were never trained and they never practiced. And they never put their heart and soul into actually doing this. And they viewed themselves with a low self-esteem. Self-esteem is everything in this. If they see themselves as someone that's annoying, then damn it, why do you want to annoy someone? It's self-deprecating. It doesn't work. Don't do it. Leah and or Alex. I don't know which one's raising their hand, but I'd love to speak to either of you. Hey, Leah. Oh, we got both of them. Like a 2-for-1 deal here. Cold calling me together.
Now. Yeah, because I'm the one that, so I get hung up on every day.
Okay.
I get hung up on, I get people have me repeat myself and then tell me they're on the do not call list all the time.
Okay.
I have people, just hear what I have to say and then click. And then I call them back too. Then I tell them, hey, I think we got disconnected. No, I hung up on you.
Sure.
I just find you're looking for a person who wants to have a conversation with you. and to make sure they're just not unemployed, because they
Mhm.
can't sell their house. So I've had those people also. But I cold call every day, you know, with the intention of just trying to have a conversation. More often than not, they'll just hang up on you and let you go. And you just keep dialing until you find somebody who wants to hear what you have to say. You know, I agree with you. At the same time, you know, I do take cold callers, phone calls to me. Leah's like,
messes around with
Leah
them.
said to me, she goes, why are you talking to them? I was like, because it's a courtesy. It's a courtesy. I call, so I take their call. And then I also screw around with them to hear how they rebut me, just to hear.
Sure.
I mean, majority of them are all from India and out of this country, the calls. But, you know, I think that it's important as this is in any business is the more conversations you have daily determines the amount of business you'll have in the future. I think
Sure.
that, a key.
Brilliantly said. By the way, I want to make the distinction, and a lot of people said, well, they're calling from India, it's probably a scam. But if it's a scam, you hang up. I'm not talking about scams. I'm talking about someone who's working really hard, trying to feed their family, trying to do the things that we all do. Again, making money is not a symptom of a disease. So once you guys learn that and get it and actually see, you know, I told the story last, I guess on Wednesday, that there's someone who decided to go with Zillow and they didn't find out that there was a sober house right next door to the home that they were purchasing. Bless these people who want to fix their lives and get over drug addiction. I think it's a serious thing. I've had friends who've been in the program, and I think it's something that we need to take seriously. But it doesn't mean that you necessarily want to buy a home next to a sober house. Now, I don't know if what I just said is a violation of fair housing law. I don't know if a sober house is protected class, but you'd have to decide for yourself if your skill set and your knowledge about your area and your community is going to be, that's just one more thing that a Zillow or these online things are not going to be able to know. You got to work on yourselves, guys. You got to work on yourselves. We've got to be better than that. We've got to be highly. I'm trying to see, Bob. I'm muting you. Okay. So yeah. So that was it. But thank you, Alex, for sharing that. So how many cold calls do you make a day, Alex?
You know, for me, if I can have, I don't necessarily look at the amount of cold calls. I look at the amount of conversations I try to have. I try to have, if I can have between 5 and 10 conversations a day, it's a productive day.
That's a great day.
That's a great day. 10 is very challenging because I'm constantly running in and out. So it's very hard for me to have 10 conversations. I mean, 10 conversations, I'm probably at the phone for 7 to 8 hours because it's a challenge. 3 conversations, 4 conversations, you know, you have a productive day. And it's included following up, nurturing. Not everyone's going to, you know, want to talk or invite you over. And sometimes they might not just be ready. You know, there's a time between an expiration of a lead, usually about a month time before they want to list again. So you have to stay on that lead. And that's a conversation. I try to have 5 conversations minimum a day. You know, if I can do 5 a day consistently, then I'll go for 6. And then after 6, I'll do 7, you know, and then I try not to give myself too much to handle. I just try to give myself enough of what I know that will work.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
good.
But I do, you know, I scout my expireds, I scout my new listings, you know, I use Remind, I use everything. I use everything. I just,
good.
I get abused every single day and I do not take it to heart. I do not.
Good.
Now, I'll tell you something.
Tell us.
I'll tell you something. I still have butterflies in my stomach every single time I pick up the phone. And I just know that if I don't pick it up and have conversations, I'll be poor.
Being poor is harder.
And that's why I pick up the phone.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes there's that. Sometimes people work, you sound like you work pretty well with a gun to your head. There's a lot of people here who do, and there's a lot of people here who don't. Metaphorically speaking, I'm not talking about a real gun.
Look,
Okay.
you know, you're in a position.
Gotta be careful today.
You know what it is? If you look, everybody knows what needs to get done to be successful. You know, my opinion. It's just a question of, do I want to do it today or do I want to push it off till tomorrow? It's just going to get harder if you kick the can down the road. You know, sometimes it's much easier to get on the phone and know what you're doing wrong to fix it for the tomorrow. And there's a lot of conversations. Leah sits next to me and she listens to me get hung up all the time. She's like, he hung up on me. I'm like, what do you think he said? I'm like, there's a dial tone here.
Sure.
Like, so, and I just know that the next person will pick up, or the next person will pick up, or the next person, you know, and that's this business. And, you know, you just have to keep trying it. And more you get, you see what you did wrong yesterday. I won't do it again the next day. And you just, and everybody on this, just my opinion, I think everybody's looking for somebody who wants to set, we're looking for someone who we like the way they sound. It's a very sound. They like how we sound. They like how we talk. And it's kind of like it's a
Yeah.
rapport building, it's a rapport building. You're finding someone that you can build a relationship with. And that's why we keep trying to go through the dials.
Yes, I have an account at Banner.
Hold on, I'm just muting. Sandy, I just muted you because you were live, but we'll get you in a second. Sorry about that, Alex. So let me just ask you this, because this is something that Sandy actually put on there as a question, and you could unmute if you want to join us now, Sandy. I just noticed you are on the phone. I cannot reach many possible expireds because the numbers are on the do not call list. Sandy, I'm so glad you asked that question. Everyone, that's the do not call list question. Alex, what is your suggestion for that without saying whether you call the do not call list or not? What would you say to people who have an apprehension about calling the do not call list?
Most people will not take the time out of their day to go report you, in my opinion. Okay, we're way too busy to be bothered. It's easier just to scare you and say, I'm on the do not call list. Oh, I respect your time and privacy. Thank you. I'll take you off my list. I'm sorry. And more likely than not, when you hang up the phone, they'll hang up the phone and they'll never contact you ever again. And that's it.
Sure.
It's usually when you persist and you become a pest is when they'll poke you and say, hey, we've got a problem. That's it. They understand this is business. There's certain people I was prospecting for a buddy of mine last week, and I called specific people and I heard his voice in the beginning. I was like, and he's like, he made me repeat myself. And then he said to me, I'm on the do not call list. I was like, you know what? I respect your time and I respect your privacy. I said, I'm just trying to find a home for my friends who live in the community, but I will make sure you never called again. And that was last week. And look, listen, there's some sort of risk in business when you do cold call with people who aren't on or are on the do call, it's a chance you do take. But from my experience, more likely than not, more people are just going to say, listen, just don't call me again because they don't want to be bothered. And they're never
As you're explaining this, I want to just see a show of hands. Has anyone known an agent or any salesperson for that matter that got severely penalized by calling the do not call list? Please say it in the okay, Shira said no. Let me turn around. Has anyone seen it? Yes or no? You could just I think some of you might be a little shy to answer that. Okay, I do this professionally. Obviously, I'm a coach. I'm a realtor. Oh, Randy, you raised your hand. You know somebody, or you had a question? Now he disappeared. You got a hi, Randy.
I was click on something else.
Okay, no worries. We'll get to you as well, though. But so here's the thing, and I think Alex was saying it best. There is risk in business. There's risk in life. So for those of you that are willing to take the risk, I have a little philosophy that I live by. Break the rules, but not the law. What does that actually mean? It means the escrow stays where the escrow is supposed to stay. Don't touch it. It's not yours. Don't do that. There is a limit to what we can do, and the rules are in many cases set against us. We just got a letter from our general counsel talking about the rules of NAR now as of August 16th, or as of August 17th. All of us are bound by these rules, and one of them is essentially that the buyer's not willing to pay you, and the property they want to see is not willing to pay you. Question: must you show that property? And the answer is yes. If you want to be a realtor and part of the Realtors Association, that's the deal they negotiated for you guys. Be furious about it. Bullshit. It's bullshit. You deserve to get paid, and everybody works. We all get paid. I'm a huge fan of getting paid. One of my favorite things. Ask anyone. And at the same time, I think that it's important to recognize what you need to do in order to, again, not telling you to break the rules. I'm telling you that those that follow that simple adage, break the rules but not the law, and know what the limits are, that's a business. This is a business where you have to actually take that to heart and take it seriously. It's something that you may consider. Not telling you to do it, but it's something that you may consider, because there are competitors that are doing this. When I have my competition here I live at a gated community, and that person is willing to show a property that's not his listing, willing to show a buyer who hasn't signed a buyer broker agreement and can machine gun through all of that. Whereas I have a heavy administrative cost. I've got a wonderful administrator who works really hard for our team, and she's always chasing after all this paperwork now. It's not fair to me. I'll be the one to blow the whistle on the guy. I mean, notwithstanding what I just said about breaking the rules, not the law, that's a big one. That's going to be something that actually comes up. You've got to find a way to level the playing field. And if they're going to actually do it, we need to have something. You got to say to the guy, look, if you're going to behave in that way, do you expect me to behave the same way back? Look at them straight in the eye and say that. There's always, this is for the farmers. I don't know how many farmers there are here. I live in a gated community with 728 beautiful homes. All of them are fabulous. And I'm just telling you that those are certain stretches that you have to do. Okay, who else? Anyone else make some cold calls? They want to actually give us some of the pitches here. Like I said, I would like to take your scenarios and script that out for you, which we could give you as a PDF in a couple of hours. So Lisa, you've been pretty quiet this meeting. Lisa Murray in beautiful Scottsdale. Hi.
Hi. Because I'm waiting for an electrician that was supposed to be to my home 33 minutes ago.
Okay, we'll give you the electrician pass.
Oh,
So,
well, but he isn't here yet, so I probably a no-show. I know I have done very few cold calls in my 20 years. I kind of break out in hives. I mean, not really, but they just not my thing.
Yeah.
But I
Okay, fair
probably
enough.
should. I kind of like to once in a while.
Yeah, it's just, you know what? That's the attitude. Once in a while, pick up the phone and make the call. It's not that tough. Sheila's just asked, how do we know if a person is on the do not call list? Who's got the best answer to that? There are. Okay, Greg, please answer that for Shira.
The do not call list is available in a file that you can download. I don't remember the website, but there's a government website out there that has it, and you can download it. If you use a dialer, most of them have in the setup, you can check, don't include do not call.
Okay. Daniel will have that link for everyone in the notes, and that will be on the blog as well as some of the scripting. Again, it's going to give us a few hours because I do need to put it together with the notes up here, but we will have sample scripts and a recap of this video and all kinds of fun things. Look at this. Who needs anyone when you have Ed? Yay.
If you were calling on expireds, then the call list does not apply, correct? Or no?
Not in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
In the state of Florida, it certainly applies.
Oh.
And in the state of Florida, I know at least when I took the test, it's been many years, but the question was who could fine you? You could get a $10,000 federal fine, and you could get an $11,000 fine in Florida, in the state of Florida. That's what, my Florida people might jump in and say this. Here's an interesting thing, something for you to think about. Errors and omissions oftentimes covers that type of thing. So for those of you who have errors and omissions insurance, now it might get less and less as lawsuits happen. But again, I just don't know anyone who's gotten in trouble for it. I need to be clear. I'm not telling you to break these rules. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you that the people who do make money. And I'm telling you that they've done so successfully without getting themselves into any real trouble. And I am, again, here you cannot call do not calls in any situation in Arizona. Okay, there. State of Arizona may very well be different. Like I said, I don't, every territory, I'm not here to give anyone legal advice ever. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just giving you what other agents have succeeded with. It's up to you to make the choice of what you want to do with it. Leah and Alex, did you have another question? I saw your hand go up a minute ago.
Oh, no, I was gonna.
I just said, you know what, like I said, you have to be careful. You're right. There is some risk, but when I call, I use Mojo Dialer. It gives you a list of everybody who, most of these dialers give you DNCs when you're farming or prospecting, they'll tell you. But again, if you are a respected individual, you call up, you introduce yourself nice, more likely than not to say, hey, listen, don't call me again, I'm on the do not call list, and don't ever call them. If you persist second or third time, those are most of the people that will kind of get, poked. But it depends. You might call someone who's just having a bad day and they might just yell at you because you're the guy that might have gotten 4 other phone calls right prior to you. And you just might be that guy. So it's very hard to determine. Look, I'm not going to say I don't get nervous. I tend to usually move out of that neighborhood and go to a different neighborhood, or I'll just take a break for the day and I'm like, listen, I'll just do it tomorrow. So I mean, it's there are enough people out there who are on the call list that you can keep yourself way busy with, that you don't even have to go to the DNC list. I mean, I have 2 separate lists, one with the DNC and one without the DNC. I mean, there's a difference, but some people don't even know they're on the DNC list because they did it so many years ago. They have no clue. So,
and sometimes you just have to be very friendly and nice to them, and just say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize."
You're friendly and nice. Most people are not going to do anything wrong to you. They're just going to say, "Whatever."
Just remove me.
Just remove me.
Yeah.
But it's your preference. It's your preference as to what, you have to know how to carry yourself if you're going to plan on doing it that way.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I think it's envious that you're a husband and wife team in the business. I've always thought that that's probably the best type of team. It's one income, it's one group. You can rely on each other. It might be tough when you go on family vacations, but aside from that, I think it's pretty cool. And we every now and then have a husband and wife team that pops in here, and that's great stuff. Okay, we're gonna get to wants, needs, and brags in a minute. It's the time in the meeting where you're able to tell us about what you want, what you need, and what you like to brag about. Before we do that, anyone want to see a new little AI trick? Anyone interested? Maybe, kind of, sort of? Okay, so you might have, if you're geeking out like me, and I am very, very clear, I am a total geek when it comes to these things. I get onto, if you've been following the news about OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, there's something that they've been talking about called Strawberry. I don't know if any of you have heard Strawberry. That's going to be a new data set, a new program within the program itself that is 100 times more powerful than what it has. And here's the interesting news. It dropped yesterday. And this you're actually looking at is Strawberry. Now, what does Strawberry do? Strawberry, and this they're calling it the ChatGPT 01 preview. It takes a long time to answer the question. However, the question is far more detailed and far more thought out. Let me give you a really geeky thing that I can show you here. Can you write a code in Python that keeps track of my expenses? And most of you don't care about Python, I know, but I just want to show you just how robust it is. You've been hearing from various CEOs that we won't need coders anymore. And I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to show you something else with sales. So you take a look, it's setting up, it's reviewing, tracking expenses, it's going through all the stuff in its mind. And it just coded a program for me. Yes, it's that good. And now I could take this actual code and we're going to put it up here. Give me a second. I'm just going to erase another code that I made. Now, why is this important? This is one of the most impossible things. And I'm going to click run. And it says here, add expense, view all expenses, generate expense report, enter your choice. I want to add an expense. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this okay. Sorry. Daniel, can you see it okay or no? You got to unmute Daniel.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2024, the month is 09. Oh, that was 08, sorry, 09. And the year is 2024. And enter the amount, $2,000. Enter the category, accountant, no, miscellaneous.
Go
Enter
back to your
description.
date.
Sorry?
Go back to your date. You got the year twice.
What? Okay, yeah, I'll fix that in a minute. Enter description, bought supplies. Again, I'm keeping this very simple. Okay, so now it's actually been entered into a database. Once again, you're not going to be doing this per se. But what I just did in 2 seconds was create a program with this. Now let me get to something a little bit more practical for you. Somebody give me a question that they may ask ChatGPT just on a daily basis. Maybe you want to do a property description, or maybe something, you know what, Sandy, do you want to give me a property description? Could I pick on you, Sandy, or no? It won't be that bad. You got to unmute if the answer is yes. You got to unmute yourself, Sandy. Where's the unmute? Here, I'm going to ask you to unmute. There you go.
Okay.
Okay. So Sandy, want to just tell me, why don't you describe, please write a property description.
Right. What I usually do is actually I write my own and then I ask ChatGPT to review it.
Okay. Please improve this. Okay, give me just briefly, give me something, give me a property that you sold or a property that you have or anything. I just want to try and do this quickly.
Oh, I have to go look that up.
Okay, so if somebody could just come up with some, it doesn't need to be anything that's real. I just want to write this out. I'm trying to give an example here.
Do you want
So it
an
could be
address or what are you looking for?
Just give me a property description. Just tell me what you're selling right now. Tell me something. I just want to show you how this actually works.
Golf course property in Fire Rock Country Club.
Okay, tell me a little bit about it.
Views of Four Peaks and the Superstition Mountains. Updated kitchen, new wood flooring throughout.
Okay, what else? How many bedrooms?
4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms.
Okay, anything else?
Private upstairs master suite. Oh, can't say master. Owner's suite.
Primary. Okay. How many car garage?
3.
Okay. Make this as descriptive as possible. And here's a little trick I'm going to also show you guys. I'm going to copy it. And this is something that you don't have to do with this new version. You could do it with any version. And you're going to say, this is, please note, and I make it in capitals here. This is important. I will repeat what I just said. You can execute on what I am asking for. We'll do this. There, I did it twice. Now, it's going to take the same amount of time thinking about it. And everyone's saying, well, why did I repeat it? It's a little computer trick. You're actually emphasizing how important it is. For some reason, it's, okay, let's take a look at what it came up with. Revisiting property details, user shifts focus, revealing property features, I'm piecing together. Okay, let's just see if this thing's actually going to do it. And please write it now. Okay. So again, this GPT is very, very slow, but very deliberately slow. When you get into ChatGPT afterward, you're going to be able to see, nestled within the prestigious Fire Rock Country Club, this exquisite golf course property epitomizes luxury living amidst natural beauty.
The letter of it I just printed.
Okay, whoever's talking,
Okay,
you're on a live meeting here, guys.
Okay, great.
Okay, there. I'm gonna mute this here. Okay, there. Sorry. So here it's giving just an incredible, as you enter through the grand foyer, you're greeted by an open concept living space adorned with newly installed rich wood flooring. It just gives an incredible description. And just so you know, you can find it on your GPT, sorry, right up here. GPT-01 preview. This is available to the people who are subscribed to ChatGPT. And I would take some time to play with it, discover it, work it. Greg, I know you like this type of thing. Take a look at it and give it a shot, and then try and see the differences between the two. Guys, I always take a little break and go back to the AI. This is the future of what we're doing. Our meeting right now is being recorded by an AI. I'm going to take that entire transcript, I'm going to put it into ChatGPT with the prompt that I wrote, and it's going to give a nearly perfect summary of what went on. And then we're going to take that in the video, and we're going to take the script that I'm going to put together with Daniel, and we're going to put that available to all of you on the blog. So if you think that this isn't something that is here and now, I could show way after way after way that you'd use this technology. Mark Lawrence, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you.
And fellow fat boy.
Original fat boy.
Original fat boy.
Quick question with respect to the strawberry and that writing description that you just produced. How does that compare to Claude, which you had indicated in the past was superior writing to the base ChatGPT or the new version?
I also said that it's a constant race and it's going to be one leader in the next.
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT just surpassed them. They really did. They just surpassed them with this. I think there's other functionality in Claude, which again, guys, I hate to geek out on everyone. This is another tool that you could use. There's other functionality that makes it easier to collaborate. But boy, it's an exciting time. This stuff is changing faster and faster and faster. And so much of the stuff right now, Eitan and I are working on various bots that you will be able to engage in and do some of the heavy lifting for you. Does anyone have a database of people that never did business with them before? Does anyone have a database with leads in it that never called them? None of you do. Okay, none of you were in business before. None of you did any of it. Avez-vous compris? Does anyone speak English? Hello, Ferris Bueller? Okay. This is something that you're going to be able to work through and be able to use these automated agents to make calls for you, and you won't be able to know the difference between the calls. That's another step. There's a whole moral and ethical conversation that we could have at some other time. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just delivering this to you. Okay, wants, needs, and brags. Now's the time for you to tell us what you want, what you need, and what you'd like to brag about. I'm very excited to go see my daughter in Southern California in about 3 weeks. So that's something that I am very happy with. Oh, and my dear friend and business partner, Eitan, just booked his trip and he's going to be staying with me here in a couple weeks. That type of thing. So who's got something they want to brag about? Maybe it's a listing that you're doing. Maybe it's a healthy diagnosis. Anyone? Okay, Mary, thank goodness we got Mary.
It's not real estate related. Well, I can brag on that too. I just closed on a barn dominium here in Oklahoma, which was through a barn dominium. It's basically a metal house.
Oh.
We don't do a lot of those here, so it took a little bit of work to get it through lending, but we accomplished that, finished that on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, I had my 32nd year anniversary with my husband.
Congratulations. Those are two great things. You see, that didn't hurt so bad. Okay, we love that. Who else? Mark Lawrence, go ahead. Let's see what you got.
Actually, I had read yesterday in one of the Compass pieces that about barn dominium. So now I feel like knowledgeable. I think it's in the template for Compass. You could put it into your newsletter. So yeah, maybe write up a piece about selling a barn dominium. And not a lot of people know about it.
I'm excited and enthusiastic. I really learned. This is the thing that I learned today. Daniel, damn it, we got to find out what a barn dominium is. So important.
Now, can I ask a
know?
question? How does the land work in a barn dominium?
Eitan, why don't you say who you are and where you are, please?
I'm in Portugal, and I am one of the founder of REIGNation. And I want to know how the land works with the barn dominium. You buy the land too?
So Mary,
yes, property was included. We had 2.5 acres with the barn dominium. It was already pre-built, but we've got a lot of builders starting to build them from the ground up now too.
Nice. So is it having anything to do with the condominium? Does it have a community or a board?
Nope, it's a standalone building. Most barn-dominiums have the shop attached to the building. This particular one has the building, which is the house, and then the shop separate.
This is
But it's just it's made out of metal versus your typical wood.
So do you sell anything out of the shop? What type of shop?
People use them for all different things. They can have a shop to have a just workspace, just use it as a garage. It really just kind of depends on the individual.
Mary, if you can, send me a picture of this thing, because I'm very curious. Again, I normally don't get stumped in these meetings, but you stumped me, and I'm slightly embarrassed, but I could live with that. Who's trying to speak? I got Randy.
I just Googled it and it comes up on Wikipedia in the whole description on the show. Yeah.
Hey, if it's Wikipedia, it's a thing. That's my big goal in life, is to have my very own Wikipedia page. I don't know. Randy, how are you? Telephone who you are and where you are.
Tell you, barn-dominiums are popular in Missouri, and what they're doing, a lot of them are taking a barn and they're remodeling. Half of it is now a house. It's very open floor plan kind of thing. And some of these are in actual old barns, and then they use the other half for their horses or animals or whatever. Some of them, they just want the barn-dominium. So they have the property and they've taken an old barn and remodeled it into a 3 or 4 bedroom house. I may have some pictures on my phone of one that I was actually in not really a long time ago. So it's becoming a thing, and that's in Missouri.
Okay. Let's see what Greg sent me here. Greg sent something over through the chat. That's a barn-dominium, Greg? Is that you got to unmute there, Greg? Okay. Hold on here.
I'm trying to unmute, but yeah, okay, that's house plans.
Wow,
that's a barn-dominium?
That's one example.
That's gorgeous.
Our receptionist here in the office just moved into hers.
So it's a prefabricated house.
Well, they actually do take existing barns. I mean, the concept sprang out of existing barns being converted into houses, or a combination of a house and whatever they used to use a barn for. Tractors or lawn equipment or chickens.
Huh. You learn new things every day. Barn-dominium. I've not seen one in Boca Raton, Florida, or in any country club for that matter. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like the marketplace. But here, and it brings me to the final point, guys. You are in your marketplaces. My highest deal this year was $330,000. My lowest deal this year was $330,000. My highest deal is over $8 million. The only requirement that I have for anyone being in this meeting is that they really truly are full-time in real estate, because the headaches that I had for the $330,000 deal was far greater than the $8 million deal. And I want all of you to really get to be, well, it's true. Sometimes, and sometimes it's because you're dealing with people who are nasty. They're nasty people who are rich and nasty people that are poor. The money doesn't necessarily make someone nasty or not nasty. There's nastiness in the world. On the other hand, some people who really need to, they're really pulling out all stops. That $300,000 is really the absolute maximum of what they could afford. And when they start arguing over a television set that they have to keep there, to them, it means a lot. You need to take that seriously. That's what we're signed up for. It's their life. You need to show them the respect that they actually deserve. And I tell everyone on my team, if we're not going to do that, then respectfully refer it to somebody else. Don't do it. So we really need to try and keep all that in mind. Okay, guys. Listen, I think it's great. If any of you are interested in one-on-one coaching, I really hope that you would give us a call. We have a great program that we put together. It's not that much. It's not that hard to commit to. And I think that, did Greg leave? Greg already followed some of the advice. Greg, did you get any more listing appointments from what we talked about?
I started to to brag. I actually have 3 on the market now, coming out of the FedEx CMA
Okay, so
technique that you gave me that is just incredible.
great. So that's terrific, and I hope that it continues. And we've got a past video. Maybe Daniel, you can find it if anyone's curious about that episode of REIGNation. You could watch it and see what Greg actually followed the instructions, and lo and behold, has listings. Mazel tov. We love that. Okay, guys, listen, it's great to see everyone. Next meeting, Daniel, help me out. When is our next meeting is Wednesday, and I think we also have one on Friday of next week. Next Wednesday is 9 a.m. Eastern time. And ChatGPT for real estate, revolutionizing your business with AI. That's going to be Wednesday, the 18th. We're going to dive deep into a lot of the tricks and tools that are in there. It's going to be a great time for you to be able to talk to me about this. And then next one, confidence equals commission. We talked about this briefly. There is a great book that I've read. I read it probably once or twice a year called Psycho-Cybernetics. Anybody hear about Psycho-Cybernetics? Maybe Maxwell Maltz. Maxwell Maltz was a plastic surgeon, and his belief was that people were coming to him for plastic surgery who really truly didn't need it. And he said most people need plastic surgery on their brain, not on their body, not on their face. That you will, once upon a time, being a Rubenesque, a larger woman was, the sexiest thing. If some of these scrawny, thin women were ugly at one time, well, society changed. Things have changed. It's constantly in a flux of change. The one thing that hasn't changed is the self-esteem that you actually have. I urge you to come to that meeting next Friday. Don't be too much of a big shot. I read the motivational books. I do all that. And guess what? All of the top producers do. Sonata Adsim in my company does $400 million a year. She goes to every Tony Robbins meeting that there is. Why? Because it's making yourself constantly better. And for those of you who want to try that and have no shame in it, as I do, please, please, please come to the meetings, come to this. If you have questions, Mary, I'd love to hear from you. And anyone else who's been in the meeting as well. Eitan, is that Mrs. Eitan? Look at this. I don't have you on the screen here. Let me put this up. That's Yan, Eitan's newlywed here with his wife in Portugal in their new home there. Isn't that fabulous? Okay, guys, look, great to see everyone. Yay! Good to see everyone. And I hope to see all of you for another exciting episode of REIGNation. Make it a great weekend.
Thanks, Edmund.
Take care. Good to see you.